You're staring at a $50 million tax loophole that a billionaire is about to walk right through. In the pocket of your frayed vest sits an eviction notice for exactly $2,400. You're a senior IRS auditor. 12 years on the job. You've audited shell corporations, tracked offshore accounts, and watched the elite bleed the system dry. The math is simple. You can flag this return and be homeless by Friday. Or you can make one phone call and finally take your cut. You sit in a cubicle, lit by fluorescent tubes, that hum with a frequency that gives you a permanent migraine. Your desk is buried under stacks of 1040s, Schedule Cs, and corporate filings. So you have got a bottle of generic ibuprofen next to your keyboard. You take 3, just to get through the afternoon. The screen in front of you shows a single offshore account, routed through the Cayman Islands. A tech billionaire is writing off a $40 million private jet as a depreciating corporate asset. It is entirely illegal, it is entirely obvious, and it is your job to flag it. But your hands are not typing, they are shaking. You reach into your jacket pocket and feel the rough paper of the past due mortgage notice. $2,400. That is just the house. Your ex-wife's lawyer sent an email this morning about the missed alimony. Your mother's assisted living facility called yesterday. They need $4,000 for her physical therapy by Friday, or they discharge her. You are drowning. In a sea of terrifying, suffocating math, you make $68,000 a year, before taxes. The numbers simply do not work. They have not worked in years. You look across the aisle. Sarah is sitting at her desk. She has been with the agency for 15 years. She is eating a cold turkey sandwich from a vending machine. Last week, Sarah caught a local bakery owner hiding $6,000 in undeclared cash sales. She worked 70 hours to build that case. She looked so proud when she filed the penalty. She calls it doing the right thing, but you look down at her shoes. The sole of her left heel is held together by super glue. Her car, it's a rusted sedan that barely starts in the winter. Sarah is a true believer. She plays by the rules every single day. And the rules, they have left her exhausted, underpaid, and wearing broken shoes. You realize in that exact moment that Sarah is not a role model. She is a warning. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. An unknown number. A text message with an address to a diner on the edge of town, and a time, 11 p.m. You do not tell Sarah. You just pack your briefcase. You put the billionaire's file. Inside, the diner is empty, except for a waitress wiping down the counter, and a man sitting in the back booth. He is wearing a tailored suit that costs more than your entire wardrobe. He is a fixer, the kind of guy billionaires keep on retainer to make problems disappear before they ever reach a courtroom. He does not look at you when you sit down. He just stares at his black coffee. You place your briefcase on the sticky formica table. The air smells like old grease and bleach. He speaks first. His voice is calm, professional. He tells you that the global economy is complex. He says that sometimes paperwork gets misplaced. A notice of deficiency falls behind a filing cabinet. A digital audit gets corrupted. During a server migration, he is not asking you to commit a crime. He is asking you to be careless. Just once, just for a specific shell corporation. You think about your mother's medical bills. You think about Sarah's glued-together shoes. You think about the yak this billionaire bought last week while you were eating ramen noodles for dinner. He looks at you. He does not ask if you will do it. He asks how much. You say nothing. The silence stretches. It feels heavy, suffocating. He slides a thick, unmarked manila envelope across the table. It stops right in front of your hands. You do not open it. You already know what it feels like. You nod. Just once. A fraction of an inch. He stands up, leaves a $20 bill for a coffee he never drank, and walks out into the rain. You sit alone in the booth for 20 minutes. You take the envelope to your car. You lock the doors. You tear open the flap. The smell of old paper and ink fills the cramped space. It is filled with bundled hundreds, $100,000 in unmarked cash. Your hands finally stop shaking. You lean your head back against the steering wheel and laugh. A dry, hollow sound that scares you a little. You have spent 12 years of your life hunting down people who cheat the government out of their money. And your first real paycheck, it is entirely tax-free. $100,000 sounds like a fortune until You are trying to fill a hole that has been digging itself for a decade. You pay the past due mortgage. You write a check to the assisted living facility. That covers your mother for the next year. You pay off your ex-wife's attorney. You clear the balances on 3 maxed-out credit cards. You fix the transmission on your car. 30 days later, you look at your bank account. You have $6,000 left. The panic returns. It's sharp and cold. The money did not fix your life. It just rented you a month of breathing room. The hole. It is still there. You do not wait for the burner phone to buzz. This time, you know how the game is played now. You walk into the office, sit at your desk, and open the database. You are no longer looking for tax cheats to penalize. You are looking for clients. It takes you exactly 2 hours to find the next target. A hedge fund manager is writing off a 70-foot yacht. As a marine biology research vessel, the tax penalty would be roughly $3.5 million. You know the fixer's routine. You leave a specific coded message on a specific voicemail. 2 days later, a different man sits in a different diner. This time, your hands do not sweat. You do not shake. You tell him the problem disappears for $200,000. He does not even blink. He transfers the funds to an encrypted digital wallet. Before your coffee gets cold, the fear that kept you awake the first time, it is entirely gone. It is replaced by something much more dangerous, arrogance. You walk into the office the next morning and look around the floor. You see hundreds of exhausted people staring at spreadsheets, trying to squeeze blood from a stone. Sarah is at her desk. She has been there since 6 in the morning. She has 3 different colored highlighters lined up perfectly next to her keyboard. She waves you over. She is glowing with pride. She spent 3 weeks auditing a family-owned landscaping business. She found a discrepancy in their cash deposits. She hit them with an $8,000 penalty. She tells you it is a victory for the honest taxpayer. She says it proves the system works. You look at the dark circles under her eyes. You look at her frayed sweater. You smile and tell her she did a great job. You walk back to your cubicle. You sit down. You open a file for a pharmaceutical conglomerate. They are claiming $40 million in offshore research and development credits that simply do not exist. It is a paper trail of ghosts. Sarah spent 3 grueling weeks to get $8,000 for the government. You move your mouse, you click a single green button. Approved. In half a second. $40 million of owed taxes is wiped from the ledger. It vanishes into thin air. Your phone vibrates in your pocket. A confirmation text. Another $300,000 has been routed to your proxy account. You look across the room at Sarah, who is eating another vending machine sandwich, immensely proud of her $8,000 victory. You do not feel guilty anymore. You feel vastly, untouchably superior. You realize the system is not broken. It is working exactly as intended. It is a toll booth for the elite, and for the first time in your life, you are the one collecting the toll. You start actively hunting real estate developers artificially deflating property values. Tech CEOs hiding stock options in blind trusts. You learn their methods. You fix their mistakes. You forge the approvals. The money becomes abstract. 500,000, 800,000, 1.2 million. You buy a luxury penthouse. Under a shell corporation, you buy a $30,000 watch and keep it in your desk drawer. Just to know it is there. You are making more money on a Tuesday afternoon than the director of the years makes in 5 years. You are smarter than the software. You are smarter than the internal auditors. You do not wear a badge, but you have more power than anyone in that building because you finally understand the truth of your profession. You are no longer a federal agent enforcing the law. You are a merchant, selling it. Money changes everything, but it doesn't just change your zip code. It changes your blood chemistry. You start running with the people you used to investigate. You get invited to underground poker games. In penthouses overlooking the city, the buy-in, $50,000. You drop it on the table, without blinking. You start spending absurd amounts of money to fill the silence in your new, massive apartment. $1,500 bottles of scotch. Designer suits you wear exactly once. You spend $10,000 in a single weekend in Vegas, chasing a high that has nothing to do with the cards. The high is the power, the absolute certainty that you are untouchable. But you are not untouchable. You are sloppy. It starts small, a missed decimal point on a forged transfer document. A routing number that flags a minor anomaly in the central database. You don't even notice. You are too busy picking out Italian leather interiors for your new sports car. But Sarah notices. She is running a routine cross-check on a mid-level tech firm you wiped clean 3 months ago. The system flags the discrepancy. It is a tiny thread, almost invisible. But Sarah, she is the kind of auditor who pulls threads. You walk past her cubicle on a Tuesday afternoon. She is staring at her monitor, not moving. Her 3 highlighters are pushed to the side. You stop, you ask her, "What is wrong?" She looks up at you. Her eyes are not proud today. They are terrified. She points to the screen. She shows you the anomaly. She shows you the digital signature attached to the wiped file. It is. Your heart slams against your ribs. A cold sweat breaks out across your neck. The scotch you drank the night before suddenly tastes like battery acid in the back of your throat. You try to laugh it off. You tell her it is a glitch in the server migration. You tell her you will look into it and fix it. You lie straight to her face. She doesn't blink. She doesn't agree. She just stares at you. She knows. She might not know the extent of it, the millions of dollars, or the fixer in the diner, but she knows you did it on purpose. You leave the office early. You drive home in your $100,000 car, and you check the rearview mirror every 10 seconds. The paranoia sets in. It is a physical weight, pressing down on your chest. You start checking your phone for wiretaps. You sweep your luxury apartment for listening devices. You stop sleeping. You show up to work the next day looking like a ghost. Sarah is not at her desk. You ask around. Someone says she was pulled into a meeting on the 9th floor. The 9th floor. That is internal affairs. You go to the bathroom and throw up in the sink. You splash cold water on your face. You look in the mirror. You see a man wearing a Rolex. But the eyes staring back, they belong to a cornered animal. You walk out of the building at noon. You don't tell your supervisor. You just leave. You get to your car in the parking garage. As you unlock the door, a black SUV pulls up to the exit. 2 men in cheap suits step out. They are not looking for your badge. They are looking for you. The illusion shatters. You realize you were never smarter than the system. You just got greedy. And the system, it always catches up. You sit in your car, watching the SUV block the only way out. You think about the millions of dollars sitting in offshore accounts. You realize none of it can buy you a way out of this garage. Sarah's face flashes in your mind. That look of absolute, devastating disappointment. That is the moment it finally breaks you. You realize she was never the warning. You were. So you sit in your car, in the parking garage, for 3 hours. The SUV is gone, but the threat is still there, hanging in the exhaust fumes. You pull the Glock from your glove compartment. It is registered. It is loaded. It is heavy. You rest the barrel against the steering wheel. You think about the headlines, the scandal, the absolute destruction of your name. You think about your mother, finding out her physical therapy was paid for. With dirty money, the cold metal of the gun feels like a solution. It feels like the only way out of the hole you dug. But as you sit there, suffocating under the weight of your own choices, a quiet thought cuts through the panic. What happens if you just stop running? You don't pull the trigger. You put the gun back in the glove compartment. So you start the car. You drive back to the office. It is 6 p.m. The floor is mostly empty. Sarah's desk is dark. You walk straight to the director's office. He is packing up his briefcase. You close the door. It's behind you. You sit down in the chair, across from his desk. You don't make excuses. You don't try to mitigate the damage. You lay it all out. The offshore accounts, the erased penalties, the fixer in the diner, the millions of dollars sitting in a digital wallet. You confess to everything. The director doesn't yell. He doesn't immediately call security. He just sits there, listening to the complete collapse of your career. When you finish, the silence in the room is deafening. He opens his desk drawer. He takes out a file and slides it across the desk. It is not your termination papers. It is a dossier on the billionaire whose yacht you wrote off as a research vessel. He tells you they have known about the anomaly for a week. He tells you Sarah brought it to him quietly. But he doesn't want you. He wants the people who hired you. He offers you a deal. It is not a good deal. It is the only deal. You avoid federal prison. In exchange, you become a cooperating witness. You become the bait. He tells you to open the top button of your shirt. He reaches into a box on his desk and pulls out a small, flat microphone. You realize you are not walking out of this office a free man. You are walking out as a pawn. You trade one master for another. You tape the wire to your chest. The adhesive pulls at your skin. It feels like a brand. You are going back to the diner. You are going to meet the fixer. You are going to hand over the digital wallet. And you are going to record every single word. You thought the money bought you power. It only bought you a front row seat to your own execution. So you sit in the exact same booth, at the exact same diner. The air still smells like old grease and bleach. The wire taped to your chest feels like a block of ice. Against your skin, the fixer slides into the seat across from you. He orders a black coffee. He doesn't suspect a thing. He thinks you are just greedy. Just another corrupted gear in the machine he operates. He slides a flash drive across the table with the routing numbers. But that is not enough. You need it on tape. You push the drive back. You tell him, I need verbal confirmation. You feign paranoia. You ask him to explicitly name the offshore accounts. You ask him to detail the billionaire's direct involvement. He sighs, annoyed by your sudden lack of nerve. But he talks. He names the shell corporations. He details the money laundering pipeline. He gives you everything. The conversation lasts 11 minutes. 11 minutes. To dismantle a financial empire. You walk out to your car, drive 2 blocks, and hand the recording to the federal agents waiting in an unmarked van. The raids happen 48 hours later. Simultaneously, just before dawn. The FFB kicks down the doors of the hedge fund. They seize the servers. They raid the fixer's townhouse. They board the 70-foot yacht the billionaire claimed was a research vessel, and walk him down the dock in handcuffs. You watch the footage on the morning news. The anchor calls it the largest tax evasion syndicate in modern history. They do not mention your name. Not yet. The trial consumes the next 8 months of your life. You are the star witness for the prosecution. So you sit in the witness box and systematically detail exactly how you sold out your agency. You look the billionaire in the eye as your testimony seals his 20-year federal sentence. Sarah is sitting in the gallery. On the day you testify, when you step down from the stand, she turns and walks out of the courtroom. She never speaks to you again. The government honors the deal. You do not spend a single night in a federal cell. But the destruction of your life is absolute. You are fired immediately. Your security clearance is permanently revoked. You are stripped of your pension. You are legally barred from ever working in finance, accounting, or government again. The local papers print your picture. Your ex-wife files a restraining order. Your mother refuses to take your calls. You are entirely, completely alone. It has been 3 years since the trial. You live in a cramped 1-bedroom apartment. Above a 24-hour laundromat. You work as a low-level bookkeeping clerk for a regional plumbing supply warehouse. You make $19 an hour, logging shipments of PVC pipes and copper fittings into a spreadsheet that nobody ever reads. You are sitting at your cheap folding table. The fluorescent light above you flickers. It's buzzing with a familiar, migraine-inducing hum. In front of you is a final notice for your electric bill, $84. You do not have a burner phone to call. You do not have an encrypted digital wallet to access. There is no fixer waiting in a diner to make the problem disappear. You open your worn checkbook. You write out the $84. Using money you earned from 40 hours of mind-numbing, honest labor, it leaves your bank account with exactly $12.50 to survive on until Friday. So you tear the check out and put it in the envelope. Your hands do not shake. You stand up and turn off the flickering light. You lie down on a mattress that hurts your spine. The apartment is cold. The noise from the laundromat below rattles the floorboards. But, as you close your eyes, the silence in your head is profound. You do not listen for footsteps in the hallway. You do not check the window for federal agents. You do not wonder which lie is going to finally catch up and destroy you. You lost the penthouses, the offshore accounts, and the illusion that you were untouchable. You traded millions of dollars for $19 an hour, but you bought back the one thing the money could never afford. The ability to sleep. That is not redemption, but it's a start. If you are enjoying the videos and want to support the channel, you can join Strangely Exclusive by hitting the join button below any video.